Welcome to this Lexbe training webinar on engineering effective prompts for GenAI and CoPilot use in Lexbe. My name is Brian Doyle. I'm a senior certified eDiscovery specialist with Lexbe, and I received my law degree in 2002, and my legal career spans over 20 years working as an attorney, case manager, and litigation paralegal in both plaintiff and defense law firms. I'm going to speak to you today about some tips and tricks for creating effective prompts or questions for getting the most out of Lexbe's GenAI CoPilot integration. So let's talk about how generative AI or GenAI has made waves in the legal and eDiscovery field since its introduction in 2020. These models are also called large language models, or LLMs, or simply chatbots. And they've gained incredible traction, especially compared to their limited consumer applications just a few years prior. It was OpenAI's release of GPT-3 in June 2020 that really changed the game. For the first time, developers and businesses could integrate these models directly into third-party applications. This opened up new possibilities, particularly for enhancing the quality and efficiency of tasks like legal document review. But there's a catch. The effectiveness of these models hinges on how well you communicate with them. Whether it's asking a question or giving instructions, the way you frame your input, what we call a prompt, makes all the difference in getting valuable results. So mastering prompts is a key to maximizing these tools. So what exactly do we mean by the word prompt? Simply put, a prompt is the input or instruction that you give to the AI model to guide its response. It can be as straightforward as a single question or a statement, or it can be as detailed as a set of instructions. It all depends on what you're trying to achieve. In the Lexbe eDiscovery platform, the prompts are especially versatile. You can submit a prompt to query the content of a single document, diving deep into its specific details, or you can take it a step further by submitting a prompt that queries the combined content of multiple documents, giving you a broader perspective. Each approach has its own advantages and is designed to meet different needs in your workflow. And we'll look at a couple of those a bit later. But now that we understand what a prompt is, let's take it a step further and explore how we refine and optimize our prompts to get even better results. This is where prompt engineering comes in. So what exactly do we mean by prompt engineering? Prompt engineering is the process of optimizing the wording of your prompts to more effectively guide the models and produce useful responses. So let's break it down. Gen AI models, such as CoPilot and Lexbe, are designed to function in a conversational chat mode, which means we interact with them much like we would with another person. So to really make the most of these tools, it's important to know how to draft, evaluate, tweak, and test these prompts effectively. Now, here's the key. The responses these models generate depend heavily on how you phrase your prompt and the context you provide. That's where prompt engineering comes in. It's the skill of turning your prompts to guide the model toward producing the most useful and relevant responses. Think of it this way. The more specific your request and the more context you include, the better the response. For straightforward tasks like translate this document into English, you may not need much detail. But for more complex or nuanced requests, adding that extra layer of clarity and context can make a huge difference. It's all about tailoring your input to get the output that you need. So let's dive into some key strategies for crafting effective prompts when working with CoPilot and Lexbe, or when working with other GenAI models. First, simply talk to it like a human. Treat the model like an intelligent teammate. Write your instructions as you would for an experienced attorney, paralegal, or legal staff member. These tools are built to respond best to natural human-like communication. Be specific. Ambiguity doesn't work well with AI, so provide clear details, set constraints, and include examples to guide the model toward the right response. Provide sufficient context. More context leads to better results, so don't hesitate to include background information. Even some redundancy in your prompt can lead to a more fuller response and more well thought out picture of the information. Think of it like a review protocol. Developing prompts is similar to training legal document reviewers. You need to summarize the key issues to refine your instructions just like you would in a case review process. Iterate and test your prompts. Think of prompts like you would think of keywords that you're running in your case. Refine them iteratively, testing different approaches to strike the right balance between breadth and specificity. Start broad, then narrow. So begin with a wide-ranging request and narrow it down as needed. So for instance, you may start with find all documents related to the XYZ project. Then, once that is presented, adjust your prompt with some additional specifics. Be careful, the prompts that are too broad or that demand too much legal judgment may yield less useful results. Broaden your prompt strategically. You can guide the model by explicitly including key elements in your query. For example, going back to our previous prompt, identify all documents discussing the XYZ project, but also include meetings in Cincinnati in 2022 or in Columbus in 2023. Define any obscure terms or complicated terms. While the models are incredibly knowledgeable, defining obscure or highly specific terms can certainly improve the clarity and the results. Specify the length of your response. Tailor the response to your needs. Ask for a 20-word summary, a 200-word explanation, or anything in between. Request the output in specific formats. You want a list or a numbered outline. You want a summary in a certain style or tone. Let the model know. It will adapt. Keep it simple and concise. Use straightforward language with enough detail. Avoid jargon or overly complex terms that can confuse the AI or lead to misinterpretation, unless you define those terms as we mentioned earlier. And finally, iterate your prompt for better results. The model is going to remember your prior input and its responses to that prompt. So use that to your advantage. If you don't get the response from the model that you are looking for with your initial prompt, revise your prompt, refine it in steps for even more precise outputs. Following these tips and these strategies will help you harness the full potential of CoPilot, turning it into a powerful ally in your legal and eDiscovery workflows. Now, let's explore the key use cases for Lexbe's OpenAI integration with ChatGPT, or what we call CoPilot. As mentioned, Lexbe has integrated CoPilot to enhance your workflow, providing two primary use cases. The single document analysis, available within the document viewer, allows you to use the CoPilot prompt window within the document viewer to interact with this single specific document. Then we have the multi-doc analysis from the browse page via the CoPilot multi-doc prompt, which allows you to query multiple documents simultaneously. So what can you do with these capabilities? Some typical applications are translation of documents. You can quickly translate foreign language documents into your preferred language. You can simplify jargon that may be in your document by having the model identify and define acronyms that are used in your documents. You can get concise summaries of the documents themselves, or even summaries of deposition transcripts, which will save valuable time. And you can also use the prompts to identify any confidential information, pinpoint potentially sensitive content such as PII or email addresses associated with law firms. These features streamline the complex workflows, making the document review faster and more efficient. To help guide new users, Lexbe's OpenAI integration provides the following built-in prompts for the user to select for some simple use cases. The Summarize built-in prompt simply will summarize the displayed document in English. The Translate built-in prompt will translate the text of the document from whatever foreign language it might be in into English. We have a built-in Key Dates, Key Entities, and Summary prompt, which will generate a bulleted list of any key dates, key entities, and then a summary of the currently displayed document. Our built-in PII prompt will generate a list of any PII that is found in the current document. The built-in Acronyms prompt will identify any acronyms and state what they mean. And finally, we have a built-in Keywords prompt, which will generate a list of what the AI model believes to be keywords in the current document. So now we can take these built-in simple prompts a step further and break down more specific examples that you can use effectively. So let's look at a few of these simple prompts. Instead of simply selecting the built-in Summarize prompt, you might choose to modify it to say summarize this document in 25 to 50 words. This makes the summary prompt specific. It limits the response to 25 or 50 words only, and it's much more focused than the general built-in summarize this document prompt, because you're putting constraints on the length of the output or the response. Can we use it for privilege? Sure. Identify information that may be subject to attorney-client privilege and explain why. Now, this is a pretty powerful, but it's a very nuanced prompt. Be cautious here, because while the model can help flag potentially privileged information, it can't make a legal conclusion. So for best results, provide additional details like specific law firm email addresses that may lead to a claim of privilege, the roles of the parties involved, or even a brief overview of privilege law in your jurisdiction. We can expand our entity built-in prompt to say list all entities and their variations in the document set. So this prompt will extract a clear list of names, organizations, and entities mentioned across your documents, along with any variations in how they appear. You can ask the prompt to generate a chronological timeline of key events. This is a perfect way to get a quick overview of events, find holes in your data between dates, and it organizes the key details into a clear timeline for easy analysis. These simple prompts demonstrate how simple instructions can yield focused, actionable insights while keeping you in control of the results. Now, let's switch from some simple prompts to some more advanced applications of CoPilot. Let's explore an advanced application by comparing draft versions of a document for key changes. Suppose we have two versions of a contract, and we want to see the differences between these two versions. Here's how we can structure an effective prompt for this use case. These are two versions of a contract between a buyer and a seller. The first contract is titled Widgets Purchase Agreement version 1, which is the original version. The second contract is Widgets Purchase Agreement version 4B, a later revision. Please provide a short description of the changes between the two versions. For each change, indicate whether it is 1, favorable, or 2, not favorable to the seller. Now you'll note this is a pretty specific and detailed prompt, but it works very well. And why is that? Well, first, it's specific. The prompt clearly identifies both versions of the document and their context. It identifies which document is the original document and which document is the revision. The prompt requests a focused output. It directs the OpenAI application to analyze changes and evaluate them from a specific perspective. Here, that perspective is the favorability to the seller. And it also requests a structured response. It's asked to categorize and summarize the changes in a way that aligns with a legal analysis. So this is a very effective prompt that you can use to compare different versions of a document or different versions of a contract using CoPilot and Lexbe. Another advanced application may be classifying documents by key issues in the case. So let's look at a sample prompt that we can use to classify documents by issues. Please analyze the provided group of documents and identify the key issues discussed within them. Summarize the main themes, arguments, and concerns presented across the set, and highlight any recurring patterns, conflicting viewpoints, or areas of consensus. Be sure to note unresolved questions, points of contention, or topics needing further exploration. Your analysis should provide a clear overview of the core issues and offer insights into the topics covered. Again, another complex prompt, but it's also another very good prompt. This sort of sounds like the instructions you would give to a junior associate or a paralegal for a project. This sets clear expectations in that is ensuring that the AI model focuses on relevant aspects of these documents like themes, arguments, and concerns. The prompt is efficient. A human may take hours to analyze, say, 30 documents to answer these specific questions, but the AI can process them quickly and minimize human error. And it requests comprehensive insight. The request for patterns, conflicts, and unresolved questions ensures a nuanced analysis that helps guide further review or discussion. So this prompt can transform a potentially tedious task into a fast, accurate, and insightful analysis, making it a valuable tool in your workflow. Another sample advanced application for using CoPilot and Lexbe is creating timelines for case events. Here's how to approach creating timelines using CoPilot. Please create a chronological timeline of key events identified across this set of documents. List each event in sequential order, providing brief descriptions or context to illustrate how the events progressed. Ensure the timeline is clear and concise, focusing on key details relevant to the case. Again, another great prompt. And why is this one effective? Because it's clear. It requests a sequential order and context. It asks the AI to generate an organized and easy to follow timeline. It's versatile. The written timeline can then serve as a direct input for trial vendors to turn into demonstrative exhibits, so they save preparation time. And the question to focus on key events ensures the output highlights what's critical, eliminating any unnecessary detail. With this method, you can transform complex case documents into a clear visual aid, streamlining trial preparation and enhancing your case presentations. And finally, let's look at the last focused advanced application, a focused analysis for deposition summaries. So traditional deposition summaries can be pretty time-consuming and broad, but CoPilot allows for more targeted, efficient analysis. Let's look at two sample prompts, each designed to achieve different results for focused deposition summaries. The first prompt lists all referenced exhibits in this deposition transcript. For each exhibit, specify where it is discussed, page and line references, and provide a 20 to 30 word summary of the related testimony. Present this information in numbered format, referencing the exhibit number where appropriate. Why does this prompt work so well? Well, first, it homes in on the testimony surrounding the exhibits themselves, which is a key component in most depositions. It requests a concise output. It requests short summaries, keeping the analysis clear and actionable. And it's requesting it in a numbered list, identified by exhibit number where appropriate, which ensures that the results are easy to review and integrate into case materials. Let's look at another way we can summarize a deposition, but yet get a different output. This is an issue-specific summary. Summarize from this transcript the issue of alleged negligence on the part of ABC Corporation. Include any applicable testimony, date ranges of activities discussed, other individuals or entities mentioned, and the page and line references for the testimony. This prompt works because it's targeted, it's focusing on a specific issue such as negligence, so it's making the summary more relevant to case strategy. It's requesting a detailed context. By requesting key details like dates, participants, and transcript references, the prompt delivers a thorough analysis. And it's efficient. It eliminates the need to manually sift through unrelated testimony, which is going to save a lot of time and effort when it comes to summarizing your depositions. So with prompts like these, you can streamline the deposition review process, making it faster, more focused, and highly effective in addressing the needs of the litigation. And it's more than just a simple rote page line summary, which obviously has its application, but typically the crux of a deposition is to get to the main issues in the case. And using these applications, leveraging the power of ChatGPT and its CoPilot integration can allow you to get more focused, more detailed summaries from your depositions. So in conclusion, let's take a look at a few of the key takeaways from this presentation for effective prompt use with CoPilot. Obviously, as we've been discussing, the prompt is the key. It's number one here for a purpose. As we've seen, crafting the right prompt is essential for getting useful and accurate results from the model. Speaking to the model in a conversational tone and providing background details will help guide the output to fit your desired needs. Know your case. Before you start, understand the facts and issues in your case. The more familiar you are with the specifics, the easier it's going to be to create targeted and effective prompts, and the easier it will be to iterate and modify prompts to get different responses from the model. Specific and adaptive. If the response isn't quite right, refine it. Think of it as clarifying your instructions to a junior associate or a paralegal who might need additional detail to complete the task. Leverage the AI model itself for suggestions. The model knows how it works. So if you're struggling to create the perfect prompt, ask the AI model itself for help. Submit your initial prompt to the model and request it provide suggestions for improving it. This is an easier way to refine your approach. So if you're not exactly getting the response that you are looking for with your prompt, but you're not quite sure how to modify that prompt to get the specific detail that you're looking for, ask the AI module, ask CoPilot to suggest a better, more effective prompt and see what it gives you. And finally, stay in control. This is important. Remember, CoPilot, OpenAI, ChatGPT, all of these models are tools. They're not decision makers. So be sure to analyze the responses critically and ensure they align with your needs. Don't rely on the model blindly. Keep it working for you, not the other way around. By following these principles, you can maximize the effectiveness of CoPilot while maintaining control over your results.